It's called the 1952 wheat penny with a Denver mint mark. To the average eye, it looks just like any other worn copper coin from the 1950s. Tossed into change jars, rattling inside piggy banks, traded over counters at diners and gas stations. But for those who know the secret, this penny is a life-changing treasure. You see, 1952 was an unusual year for American coinage. The U.S. Mint was producing millions of Lincoln wheat cents, but buried within that massive run was a tiny handful of mysterious errors.
Mistrike.
Doubled letters, minting quirks that weren't supposed to happen, yet somehow slipped past inspectors, and collectors have been chasing them ever since T first. Nobody noticed. These pennies clinked around in pocket change for decades. They bought candy bars, newspapers, maybe even a gallon of gas when it was only 20 cents. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One of these rare Denver-minted wheat pennies resurfaced, and it sold for more than $1.3 million at auction. Imagine that. A coin worth just a single cent suddenly transformed into a millionaire's prize. Collectors were shocked. Dealers rushed to grab any 1952 Denver pennies they could find, terrified they were missing the next million-dollar miracle. Because here's the truth. The difference between an ordinary 1952 D penny worth a few cents and one worth a fortune comes down to the tiniest detail. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Some of these coins display a dramatic doubling in the date, where the numbers 1952 look doubled or shadowed. Others show repunched mint marks, where the D from Denver was struck more than once. These errors were accidents of machinery, but to collectors, they're golden tickets. Think about it. One man's pocket change could buy a brand new house. Another lucky finder could pay off every debt in an instant. And it all comes down to spotting what everyone else overlooked. But the story doesn't end there. In the 1980s, a collector in the Midwest was sorting through a jar of pennies left behind by his grandfather. He wasn't expecting much. Most of the coins were worn, scratched, ordinary. But tucked at the bottom was a single 1952 D wheat penny. He almost dismissed it until he spotted the double date. That very coin later sold at auction for hundreds of thousands. And today coins like it are breaking the million-dollar mark. And the rumors keep swirling. Some say only a dozen exist. Others whisper that a few more may still be out there, sitting quietly in coffee tins, hiding in dusty drawers, waiting for the right eyes to find them. But here's the catch: for every real treasure, there are thousands of ordinary 1952 D pennies that look almost the same. Many hopeful collectors mistake scratches or coin damage for doubling. Many overlook the subtle shape of the mint mark. That's why experts urge: study carefully, use a magnifying glass, and compare with verified examples. Because the line between disappointment and $1 million rests on the finest detail. Dealers are still scrambling. Auction houses are keeping lists of interested buyers. Every time a genuine 1952 D double-die penny appears, the bidding wars ignite instantly, pushing prices higher and higher. And for everyday people like you, the dream remains alive. Picture it. You're emptying your coin jar, expecting nothing but pennies worth a cent apiece. And then your eyes catch something unusual in the date. A shadowy doubling.
Ostruine mint mark.
Your heart races. Could this be it? Could you be holding the next $1 million penny in your hand? Because the truth is, someone will. These coins exist. They've already sold for jaw-dropping sums. And the next discovery could happen in the most ordinary place. At the bottom of your own change jar. Here's what to look for. A 1952 Lincoln wheat penny with a Denver mint mark. Examine the date closely for doubling. Clear separation in the 1952. Check the D for signs it was punched more than once. And remember, condition matters. The sharper the details, the higher the value. Do not be fooled by worn, scratched coins that merely look strange under bad light. True double dies and repunched mint marks are precise, unmistakable, and once you see them, you'll understand why collectors go wild. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It was just another Lincoln penny from 1957, or so everyone thought. Ordinary brown copper, worn by time. A coin you'd overlook in a jar of loose change. But hidden deep in its design was a mistake so rare, so shocking, that it transformed a 1-cent piece into a life-changing fortune. Collectors still whisper about it. The 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny, struck with a mysterious wrong mint mark. A tiny detail most eyes miss. But that slip of the mint's hand created one of the most valuable pennies in American history, a coin worth up to $1.2 million. The story begins in the Denver Mint. Back in the 1950s, production was fierce, millions of coins flying off presses every single day. Workers were under pressure. Dies wore out, machines clattered, and human hands rushed to keep up with demand. And that's when the error happened. A wrong mint mark was punched. A D that wasn't supposed to be there. A marking that transformed this everyday penny into something extraordinary. At first, nobody noticed. Pennies are everywhere. They pass through fingers, pockets, purses without a thought. But when one sharp-eyed collector spotted something strange about this 1957 wheat penny, the world of numismatics gasped. Because this wasn't just any double die or scratch. This was a minting blunder so rare that experts debated whether it should even exist. Yet there it was, undeniable, staring back from the copper surface point. One of these elusive 1957 wrong mint mark wheat pennies surfaced at auction. What started as a modest opening bid climbed higher and higher. Collectors clashed in a frenzy. Dealers gripped their paddles, sweating as the numbers soared. And then the hammer fell. Nearly $1 million for a penny. A penny that once jingled in someone's change pocket. But here's where the story gets even more unbelievable. For every legendary coin that makes headlines, there could be dozens more waiting. Unnoticed, tucked away in drawers, piggy banks, and dusty coffee cans across America. That's why experts urge, check every 1957 penny you find. Because lightning can strike twice. The 1957 wheat penny with the rare writ error and Denver mint mark shows a subtle but unmistakable difference. The D is misshaped, slightly misplaced, almost looking like a ghostly double stamp. On some examples, the letters of Liberty even appear distorted, as if the die itself trembled. That tiny imperfection is the golden ticket. Without it, your penny is worth only cents. With it, your penny could be worth hundreds of thousands, even over $1 million. But this tiny detail is why most people miss it. The coin blends in perfectly with ordinary wheat pennies. Dealers have overlooked them. Families have spent them. Even banks have unknowingly rolled them away. Yet the difference is there for those who know how to look. Collectors were shocked when photos first circulated. The copper shimmered under the light, and that faintly warped mint mark told a story of human error and destiny. One single strike at the mint created a fortune, waiting to be uncovered decades later. But the greatest mystery is this. How many are still out there? Experts can't say. Some believe only a handful survive. Others whisper that dozens might still lie hidden, quietly passing from hand to hand. That's why every collector, every dreamer, every believer in miracles still searches. Because one lucky find could change everything. Imagine it. You're sifting through an old jar of pennies, dusty, forgotten. One coin catches your eye. It's a 1957 wheatback. You almost toss it aside. But then you see it, the odd mint mark, the tiny flaw in the lettering. Your heart races. Could it be? Could this penny be the one worth over $1 million? Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Collectors are desperate to uncover just one. And history has already proven. They're out there. So here's what you must do. When you come across a 1957 Lincoln wheat penny, don't rush. Look closely. Examine the D mint mark. Check the word Liberty. Compare carefully with images from trusted coin guides. If something looks off, if it feels different, it could be the greatest discovery of your life. This isn't just about money. It's about history, mystery, and the dream that the most ordinary object can hold extraordinary power. Because the truth is simple. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It looks like any other Lincoln penny. A dull brown cent most people wouldn't give a second glance. But hidden in its copper surface lies one of the greatest numismatic mysteries of the 20th century. The 1954 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark. The story begins in the early 1950s. The U.S. Mint was running at full speed, producing hundreds of millions of pennies each year. Most were struck in Philadelphia, the birthplace of American coinage, and carried no mint mark, a simple detail almost everyone ignored. But somewhere in that endless stream of copper coins, something happened. A mistake, a misalignment, a secret that would take decades to be uncovered. For years, nobody noticed. These pennies clinked through cash registers, slipped into piggy banks, and fell between couch cushions. Ordinary, forgettable, worth exactly 1 cent. In the 1970s, whispers began circulating. A Philadelphia-struck 1954 wheat penny had surfaced in pristine condition. Its edges sharp, the strike unusually bold. And its value? Not a cent, not a dollar, not even 1,000, but tens of thousands. And with each new discovery, the frenzy grew hotter. Collectors were shocked. How could a penny most people had spent on bubblegum now be worth more than their car? Dealers were rushing to get their hands on one, offering sums that seemed unbelievable for a coin still showing Abraham Lincoln's simple profile. But the secret wasn't just rarity. The key was survival. You see, most 1954 pennies were spent, beaten, and worn down until their details blurred. But a handful were struck so perfectly, preserved so miraculously, that when they finally appeared decades later, grading experts couldn't believe their eyes. One coin, a flawless 1954 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, crossed the auction block in recent years and left the room in stunned silence. The hammer dropped. The final price soared past $1 million. A single penny, worth more than a house, more than a lifetime of wages. And the story doesn't stop there. Rumors swirl of others still out there, hidden in cigar boxes, forgotten in old family collections, waiting, silently, for the right eyes to see them. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Imagine the moment he thought he was holding a cent, and instead he was holding the key to financial freedom. But how do you know if you've got the treasure? What exactly should you be looking for? Here's the truth. Start with the date. It must read 1954. No Denver D, no San Francisco S. Just a clean date with no mint mark below. That tells you it was struck in Philadelphia. Next, condition is everything. The $1 million pieces are those that survived almost untouched, with razor-sharp details on Lincoln's coat, beard, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. If your coin looks worn, it may still be worth something, but the pristine ones are where fortunes are made. And don't be fooled by fakes. Counterfeiters know the legends, and many have tried to doctor coins to pass them off as rare. That's why serious collectors send their finds to professional graders like PCGS or NGC, who can confirm authenticity and assign the grade that could make or break its value. But here's the most electrifying part. No one knows exactly how many survive. Could be dozens, could be fewer, which means the next discovery could come from anywhere. A yard sale, a dusty coffee can, or the change you get back at the grocery store. So the next time you hold a penny, don't dismiss it. Don't toss it aside. Because somewhere out there, 1 cent holds the power to rewrite a family's destiny. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. How could something so small, so ordinary, be worth a fortune? That mystery has haunted collectors for decades. And the truth behind it is stranger, rarer, and more thrilling than you might imagine. Back in 1957, the United States Mint was cranking out Lincoln pennies by the billions. Copper coins flowing out of the presses day and night, destined for lunch counters, parking meters, and piggy banks across the country. Nothing special, nothing rare. But hidden in that ocean of copper, a handful of coins were struck. Different, flawed, mysterious, and worth more than gold. Most 1957 pennies carry the familiar D mint mark for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. But a few slipped through without any mint mark at all. That tiny absence, a single missing letter, is the key to millions. Collectors couldn't believe it when the first surfaced. Was it an error? Was it intentional? Even experts were divided. But the coin's rarity was undeniable. One of these no-mint mark 1957 pennies surfaced in pristine condition, nearly untouched, as if it had been frozen in time. At auction, the bidding war was fierce. Seasoned collectors, wealthy investors, even museums fought tooth and nail for the chance to claim it. When the hammer finally fell, the price sent shockwaves through the industry. Over $1 million for a single cent, and here's where it gets even more astonishing. Experts believe there are still more of these coins out there, hiding in old coffee tins, tucked away in dresser drawers, forgotten in rolls of pennies at the bank. Every day, ordinary people unknowingly handle change that could be worth a fortune. The missing mint mark. That's the giveaway. While regular 1957 pennies proudly show D or S, the $1 million variety bears nothing at all under the date. Smooth, empty space where a mint mark should be. It looks wrong, feels wrong, and that's exactly what makes it so valuable. Collectors who know what to look for have been scouring their coins, desperate for a glimpse of that empty spot. Some have found coins worth thousands. Others dream of finding the pristine, untouched gem that could match or even surpass that $1.8 million record. Imagine the moment. You're sorting through an old penny roll, one by one, the copper glinting under the light. Suddenly you stop. The date reads 1957, but beneath the date, nothing. Your heart skips. Your hands tremble. Could it be? Could you be holding one of the rarest treasures of American coinage? A penny that could change your life forever? Collectors were shocked when the story first broke, and they're still shocked today. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on any 1957 without a mint mark, no matter the condition. And every time one appears, the whispers spread again. Is this the next $1 million coin? But here's the danger: thousands of ordinary 1957 pennies look deceptively similar, where damage or dirt can make a mint mark fade away, fooling hopeful collectors. That's why authenticity is everything. If you think you've found one, don't clean it, don't polish it, and don't toss it aside. Have it examined by professionals. One tiny detail could mean the difference between a penny worth a cent and a penny worth $1 million. The clock is ticking. Every year, fewer of these coins remain undiscovered. Some have been lost forever. Others may never see the light of day. But some are still out there waiting to be found. And the next one could be in your hands. So the next time you come across a 1957 Lincoln penny, look closely. Under the date, search for that missing mark. Because collectors have already proven what it's worth. And history has shown us that miracles can hide in the smallest places. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine this. A coin minted in the early 1950s, at a time when America was rebuilding after war, when pennies clinked in every soda machine and candy counter. Millions upon millions rolled out of the Denver Mint, ordinary, forgotten, spent without a second thought. But hidden among them, one mysterious error turned a single penny into a life-changing fortune. Collectors say it's one of the most shocking stories in U.S. coin history. A mistake so small, so invisible to the untrained eye, that most people would spend it without a second glance. Yet for the lucky few who know what to look for, this is the kind of treasure that can rewrite your future. But what exactly went wrong at the Denver Mint in 1951? Why is this humble wheat cent, something most kids would have tossed into a piggy bank, now commanding a value that rivals classic cars, even houses? The truth lies in a striking error, a writ doubling, a rare form of misstrike that only appears on a fraction of coins. Under normal light, the penny looks almost ordinary. But tilt it, and the details blur. Letters seem to echo. The date wavers like a ghost. That imperfection is what makes this coin priceless. Dealers were stunned when the first examples surfaced. Some collectors whispered it was a rumor, an exaggeration, another tall tale of numismatics. But then, auction houses started to confirm it. One penny, rescued from a small stash of wheat cents, hammered for hundreds of thousands. And as the bidding war escalated, jaws dropped across the room. By the end of the night, the little copper coin had shattered expectations, soaring toward the $1 million mark. But here's the part that makes hearts race. For every known example in a collector's case, experts believe there are others still out there, buried in forgotten jars, sitting at the bottom of an old drawer, hidden in boxes of pocket change that haven't been touched in decades. One story still sends shivers through the hobby. A man in the Midwest, sorting through his late father's coin jars, pulled out a wheat penny that looked different. At first, he thought it was nothing more than damage. But under a magnifying glass, the doubled features told the truth. That same coin, after grading, became one of the finest 1951 D-Rit errors ever discovered. It went to auction, and what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The hammer price? More than most people make in a lifetime. So how do you know if you're holding this treasure? First, check the date. 1951, with the tiny D mark beneath it for Denver. Next, study the lettering. Look at "In God We Trust" at Liberty. The doubling should leap out, especially under light or magnification. But beware, many damaged coins look similar. Only authentic RIT doubling carries this staggering value. That's why serious collectors send their finds to grading companies, locking them in protective holders that can prove once and for all whether their penny is worth 1 cent or $1 million. And here's the haunting part. Experts insist that because so many wheat cents are still in circulation, hiding in boxes and bags across America, more of these 1951 Denver rarities could be waiting to be found. That means the next one could be discovered by anyone. By someone like you. Think about it. One coin, smaller than a thumbnail, a penny you might hand to a cashier without even noticing, could hold the power to change your life forever. A single cent that carries a story of history, of mystery, of unbelievable fortune. Check your coins carefully. Look twice, even 3 times, because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. The year was 1952. America was booming after the war. Factories were roaring, coins were pouring out of the mints by the billions. But in that endless sea of copper, something strange happened. A few pennies, so rare, so unusual, slipped into circulation without a mint mark. And over the decades, those few survivors have become the stuff of legend. Collectors call it one of the most mysterious Lincoln cents of the 20th century. The 1952 no mint mark penny. To most people, it looks like just another old copper coin. Tossed in a change jar, ignored in drawers, handed across diner counters without a second thought. But hidden within its plain brown face is the power to change someone's life forever. Why? Because errors and anomalies in coin production drive collectors wild. And in 1952, Philadelphia struck pennies without any identifying mint mark at all. At first glance, that seems normal. Philadelphia coins usually didn't carry a mark. But here's the twist. A tiny fraction of these 1952 issues were struck with irregularities, subtle differences, off-planchet strikes, or faintly doubled dies. Combine that with condition, rarity, and collector demand, and suddenly, what looks like a 1-cent piece is auctioned for staggering sums. One story shook the entire coin community. A man cleaning out his late father's belongings stumbled across a cigar box filled with pennies. Most were dull, worn, and ordinary, but one caught his eye. A 1952 Lincoln with no mint mark, gleaming like it had just left the presses. That single penny later crossed the auction block, and bidders went into a frenzy. The hammer finally fell at nearly $1.5 million. For a penny, a coin worth just 1 cent suddenly transformed into a fortune. But here's the detail most people miss. Condition is everything. The highest value 1952 no mint mark pennies are those in pristine, uncirculated condition. Coins that somehow survived 70 years without scratches, fingerprints, or wear. These are the miracle survivors that set the market on fire. Dealers are scrambling for them. Collectors are mortgaging collections just to chase one dot, and yet, countless examples still hide in plain sight. Buried in coffee cans, sitting in desk drawers, waiting in old coin albums handed down through families who never realized what they owned. Could one be sitting in your house right now? But what makes this coin so astonishing isn't just its age or its error. It's the emotional story attached to it. Imagine finding one in your change after buying a cup of coffee. Imagine realizing that this tiny piece of copper in your hand could erase debts, buy a home, or change your family's future forever. That's why collectors whisper about it. That's why the legend grows. Here's what you need to know. If you find a 1952 penny without a mint mark, don't ignore it. Flip it under the light. Look closely at the details of Lincoln's face, the clarity of the lettering, the shine of the copper. If it looks sharp, uncirculated, and flawless, you could be holding a life-changing discovery. Common, worn examples are still valuable, sometimes fetching hundreds, but the pristine ones, the near-perfect survivors, are the treasures that can climb into the millions. The biggest mistake most people make is rushing to sell too quickly. They hand a rare penny to a pawn shop or local dealer who offers a few bucks, not realizing its true worth. The smart move? Always have it authenticated and graded by a professional service. That grade, that number on the slab, could mean the difference between a pocket full of change and a fortune worth more than gold. Collectors were stunned when the last record sale was announced. Penny, 1 cent, crossing into the $1 million club. But it happened, and it will happen again. The only question is, who will find the next one? So tonight, when you empty your pockets, take a closer look. When you open that old jar of coins, don't just glance and move on. Because somewhere, hiding in the most ordinary places, a 1952 no-mint mark Lincoln penny waits to be discovered. And if you're the one who finds it, that single cent could write the story of a lifetime. Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.